issue with the bay, saying that we need another bridge. And I'm not going to pose this question to the group because it'll probably take a half hour to explain why we don't have another bridge. They actually talked about it years ago, doing a mid-island bridge over to Longboat. It's a big bay out there. That's going to be one expensive bridge, but I think instead we need to do like what was in that April Fool's edition of The Observer and get like 400 swan boats. And then we could all have fun out there. Okay, there's my alarm going off. That tells me it's time. Okay, so there's a couple there. Now here's one. This one's actually a question. And let's see. Jamie, this one's going to be for you. Do you have any suggestions about how to motivate millennials to vote in higher numbers?
No. I have ideas, and like I was saying earlier, I co-chair the community committee, and that's a really big focus of ours. I also sit on the leadership committee of Sarasota Underground, and that's another big focus of ours. And so we spent a lot of time and resources and effort to do just that, to mobilize young people. And we had a great turnout at town hall that we threw. Over 500 people, a lot of them millennials, showed up to hear from the candidates running for city commission, and we had a goal to increase voter turnout by 2%. We didn't get there, almost got there. And the conversations around what happened after, there was really just no explanation. And so earlier, when I gave my presentation, a lot of that was asking for you guys for help, and older generations do have such a great turnout when it comes to voting, and so if you guys have suggestions for me, I would love to take them and bring them back to our committee and see what we can do. I know that's not probably the answer you were hoping for, but it's the best I got right now.
Can I say something about that?
Sure.
Jamie, don't feel bad. This is a national trend. It's been that way for a long, long time, almost forever. But I would just say this, for you and anyone, you can participate in local government and community every day of the week, every month of the year. Just tell your allies and associates that we're happy to have them involved in the community, and there's plenty of ways to do it.
And so I just want to add, that is kind of our back-end strategy. Patrick and I have talked a few times about getting commissioners together every quarter or so to coffee with the commissioners. Through YPG, we're putting together a county government series to make sure that young professionals know what's going on at the county and city levels of engagement, so that hopefully within the next 2 years there will be more of a stake for us to get involved.
All right, Kevin, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I'll chime in on it. I think, and there's reasonable thoughts on both sides of the table, but what we do know in Sarasota County is more millennials turn out to vote than they do in March and May. They are still not the leading age group in terms of voting, even in November, but we do know that they vote multiples greater in November than they do in the springtime.
All right, we've got another question here, and this one is maybe not a short answer, but I need somebody to make it short. The question is this: am I being simplistic, or is it the lack of affordable housing due to failures of political will? Sarasota's been talking about affordable housing for decades. Why hasn't government collaborating with business already made it happen? Who wants to tackle that?
Well, we do have a housing authority, and there is a lot of low-income housing that's been built in the city, and our housing authority manages, I think, over 2,000 housing choice vouchers in the area. Is that right, Tim? It's a high number. But it's a tools issue, as I said earlier. It's a market problem. My wife and I were looking for a little piece of property in the Rosemary district and perhaps build a home, and a little knockdown house site was $200,000, and it was just a postage stamp of a piece of property. So how do you make the economics work to build homes that are going to rent for $400, $500, $600, $700 a month? It's tough. So between the private sector's requirement to earn a significant return on their investment, and the other extreme of government money to help bring the cost down and subsidize the project, there was a huge gap. So I would suggest we need to create new tools in this country. The economy is changing. This economy is disrupted on almost a daily basis. So many people have lost jobs and careers because of how the economy has been so innovative and changed. I think we need to break the paradigm. We need to do something different. I don't know if we need 50-year mortgages or 100-year mortgages or get back to what we did in the 30s and 40s and create housing co-ops. But something's got to change because the current philosophy and requirements in the American economy are just not supplying the need that is there for the affordable housing. For people making 7, 8, we need to humanize this economy and get our priorities straight. We just have to do some different things.
Kevin?
I think, one of the things, there's a lot of complexities to it, but one of the things I've noted in our community that is unlike some other communities in the United States is we've been grossly negligent in policies that promote multifamily housing. For a lot of people that think about housing, you think about 4 walls and a roof. It is a residential single-family home. Because of the price of land, government restrictions, labor, and other costs in the state, in this area, particularly in Florida, you're simply not going to produce an affordable home. What our policies do not allow for is a greater encouragement for multifamily housing. Multifamily housing, simply put, is traditionally more affordable than single-family housing. If you look at our entire housing stock across this community, not just in the city of Sarasota, we're grossly underrepresented in multifamily housing.
Kathy, I think you wanted to add something, then we got to move on to the next question.
I just want to say what's happening around the world is shared housing, and people, you're immediately saving on rent and mortgage costs, and we've got people who want to live alone. We've got tens of thousands of people 60 and older who are in some cases living in 3,000 square foot homes, and I'm telling you the innovation happening around the world is shared housing. I was just at the American Society on Aging conference last week presenting with New York City, DC, San Francisco, and if you think housing is expensive here, it's expensive everywhere, and shared housing, they can't build themselves out of it. It's shared housing, including for non-related people, because not everybody's living in families. 1 out of 3 boomers is single.
Well, that one inspires me to pose this question. That's one of your questions, and Hedda, I'm going to throw it your way. To create an optimal living housing for baby boomer retirees, how can we get a Margaritaville retirement center built in Sarasota?
It's called Siesta Key.
It's called Siesta Key.
Oh. Well, I think Kathy was kind of alluding to that issue. One is, I think we've got to bring some people together who really want to start talking about shared housing with that kind of joy and activities connected to it. Because we know from research that you live longer when you have those kind of opportunities available. And there are a lot of individual women and men who are isolated in homes that are much bigger than they need, but are not, that's also, they're used to being there, they're not used to sharing it, although they shared it with their partner, perhaps their partner died or they're divorced, etc. So I really think we need to have, maybe it's through through you, to form a team who might look into this whole issue with some creativity and some knowledge about what's going on in other locations. And I've had friends who have said to me, if my husband passes away, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't need this whole big house, but who do I know that would be willing to be part of this process? So I think it's pulling some creative people together with some people who have knowledge around architecture and housing and structures and figuring out a way that we can bring that joy and then have shared housing too.
And I just want to say there's a particular market for women.
What?
This is a particular market for women.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, as the women outlive the men.
Yes.
And they like Jimmy Buffett too, so the Margaritaville still gets in there, right?
Margaritaville and
Okay.
Margarita too.
So here's an interesting, this is an observation, not a question, but it's worth, I thought Hedda was so inspirational. I didn't realize until today that I wanted to volunteer more at my children's schools.
Wow.
And be a bigger part of our children's lives.
Wow. That makes my, your immune system is positively affected by what comes towards you. You just increased my immune system in a positive way by that statement, making that statement, touching one person, because I think we all need to have that enlightenment. So thank you, whoever wrote that comment.
And then, yeah, big hand.
Yeah.
And me, I'm still wearing my watch on the wrong arm.
It's not the wrong arm, it's the other arm.
It's the other arm. There you go. So here's one. This person's already apparently volunteering, working with children. It says, I feel I'm living my joyful, ideal life by working with the kids, work with children, though they're retired. However, it's still very stressful. How can this person overcome some of that stress?
You want me to respond to that one?
I do, Ms. Hedda.
Okay. What I believe is that stress is all around us. It's how we One is to feel the empowerment that you have a choice in responding to it. You see, that's the issue, because I think in any volunteer work, you're going to look, if you're coming into a structure, whether it be a hospital, a school, it's different than you just meeting with you and volunteering with you in your home or whatever. So you have to deal with the stress of that kind of restrictions. You can only meet in this classroom, or you can only go to that spot. I really think you have to look at, here's the stress, I now have a choice on how I'm going to respond to this. And I think that's most important, because having the choice rather than taking it back. I also think you don't need to repeat it, because lots of times when we get stressed, we share it with our friends, with our husbands, we repeat it 4 or 5 times, so then you relive the stress 4 or 5 times. So I think that's another way of trying to turn it around and look at it as it's outside but not me.
So that's a perfect segue to the next question, which is, if there's 4,000 more housing units being built in Sarasota, they can presume there's going to be at least 4,000 more cars.
Yes.
That's some stress. How are we going to respond to that stress?
Put your nose on and let them change lanes with your nose, with the clown nose on. No, well, it's, you know, I sometimes laugh, no offense, when I came from New York and people said, oh, there's so much traffic in Sarasota. Oh my God, 41 is really impossible. I went, have you ever been on the Long Island Expressway or a big highway, bumper to bumper to bumper, and having to go to work that takes you an hour and a half to 2 hours? It's relative, it's very relative, and I think it has to do with the issue around change. That how do we welcome change, or do we resist the change, you know, and how can we figure out better ways? He gave us some suggestions on that too.
We sure did.
Well, the community is an organic evolution, and people adjust, we adapt. We're bringing in some special talent now to try to help us manage and improve the various connectivity options, and our economy, I think the community will evolve to see this over time blended nicely with what is already here.
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the, people always ask me that question. I say, I'll tell you what, I'll race my bicycle against your car any day.
Right.
Right, so we do have some other ways to get around, especially in the nicer months. But I'm wondering if we're eventually going to end up with some one-way streets, you know, where we've kind of built ourselves in. We need to do something like that. So you heard it here from me first, folks, one-way streets. So at any rate, okay, here's another one for Jamie, maybe a little easier than the last one. What non-work activities would attract millennials to Sarasota? And what careers seem to be most interesting for folks that are coming up now?
Sure, so I think our activities are really built into Sarasota, and that's the biggest appeal for people who come here. So taking advantage of the natural resources that are around us, like the ocean or our parks, or just the things that are already built into Sarasota is what attracts, I think, any generation to Sarasota. What was the second part?
What kind of careers are young people
careers.
interested in?
So that was one thing that I did ask the community committee. They were saying, we need more jobs, we need more jobs. I'm like, okay, well, if people ask this question, what do you want me to respond? And technology is where our education is in, it's where our expertise is in, it's where our interest is in. And so by bringing you know, more technology-related jobs to Sarasota, I think that's really helpful for our city leaders to know, because we will have a workforce that's ready and willing and able to participate in jobs like that.
Where were you earlier, Jamie, when I needed that technology help?
I'm in the nonprofit sector. I don't know much about technology. It's all from the 80s.
We now have 2 business incubators. One's called Gold, one's called the Hub. So we've doubled the incubation here. And I'm told a terrific new software company has just signed a lease in the Rosemary District right in your neighborhood that's going to bring in 20 really cutting-edge software developers. So that could lead to some other things. In the Ringling Soundstage, they're now looking at producing global video here right in Sarasota as an offshoot to the Ringling House. Both the students and the community will use that soundstage. So there's a lot of creativity in the pipeline.
Is Sarasota an awesome place or what?
Yes.
All right, so just down to 2 cards. One card, I think the question is so good, we need to have every speaker respond to it in some way. And the other card is actually someone's to-do list that you're going to be looking for later. So, no, I'm serious. If you have a relative, Aaron, who's going to be in a swim-a-thon, or you need some hotel information to Donna, here's the list. Here's what you need. Okay, we've got one more question here. Should new focus be placed on the intersection of Boulevard of the Arts and the Tamiami Trail? Will it not become the walking gateway from the Rosemary District and downtown to the Cultural Bayfront? And current plans call for no roundabout at this intersection. Is this plan outdated?
I think it's a good plan. We'll see how it evolves. We are looking at, with FDOT, for some walkovers. FDOT has not warmly embraced those overpasses because they suggest it means we've given up on the street. But we are seeing if we can get a pilot project done, see if it actually works here, probably on Ritz-Carlton Drive and First Avenue during the construction period for all these roundabouts. If it works, we keep it up. If it doesn't work, we can then take it down. The roundabouts are supposed to be built to accommodate pedestrians.
When you build an arch, you go one brick at a time until you have it in its complete form. And it's not stable, it's not self-sustaining until it's fully in place. And I think when we hear about the plans to put rotaries along 41 and some of the other mobility things, you need to assume the long-term vision of the fully implemented plan. But there will be some instability in the system until it gets fully in place. And that takes some good sense of humor and continue to have faith and vision in that. But will we need one at Boulevard of the Arts? That's the gateway that I take into the Rosemary District to get to my office. I won't know until I see how the rest of the trail shapes out. Good suggestion.
You mentioned ADA requirements.
But ADA, I actually am not a fan of bridge overs. And you go to Minneapolis and you see the bridges and you realize that they're very effective when it's -20 and there's 13 feet of snow on the ground. But you're at the street level during the rest of the year and it's a little bit, I seem to have a theme here, dehumanizing. I would be concerned about putting all of these obstructions. There have been several major metropolitan areas that build elevated roadways along their bayfronts and then have since come back and taken away. Think of the Big Dig and think of some of the things that happen along the bayfront in San Francisco. So I would be concerned about putting bridge overs along our bayfront because what we're trying to do is increase accessibility and granted, we will have a pedestrian access, but for the rest of the people that are not actually on that bridge, you then have locked or blocked and or diminished the visual connections that you have there in the gym today.
All right, last question. We've only got like 3 minutes, so if everyone could think deeply about maybe just a couple things you could say about it. And here's the question. What are some ways that we can continue the collaborative dialogue from today's forum into continuing ongoing interactions as we move into the future of Sarasota? So how can we keep this going? Who's got some ideas?
Have lunch together once a week.
Sign up for www.hfriendlysarasota.org because we're trying to do this and you can stay abreast of all of our efforts and we're here to promote and amplify everybody who's doing something that's making this a more livable community.
I guess we're going to go down the line. Jamie?
I think having a very diverse group planning things like this, I kept telling myself I wasn't going to say this during the panel part, but I just have to. A lot of my friends were texting me and sending me pictures of this forum before they even knew I was speaking, saying like, oh my gosh, are you going to this? And I would tell them, yes, I'm going to it. I'm actually speaking at it. And they're like, oh, I'm so glad somebody's going. I can't go. I have to work. And so having these conversations, but also thinking of barriers for why other people can't come. So having them on the weekends or after work or even before work. I think that is another good step we could take to include even more people and keep the conversation going.
For some reason, this city keeps popping up on many of the country's greatest places to be lists. It happens with regularity. People are now saying we should stop promoting the area because too many people are coming. But as a city manager, to try to be effective in a community like this one, you need to be a quick student of history and look back and see where its successes have occurred and how they've occurred. And really, if you look back at Sarasota's history, the magnificent things that have occurred have been through collaborations. You could almost call this community a collaboratory. And if I could make one point today, this is not a top-down city. This is a bottoms-up collaborative community. As far as I can tell, it certainly is my philosophy, and I believe it's the philosophy of our elected officials, that we try to say yes to supporting anything we can whenever possible. So I think anyone who has any ideas, any passions, share them with the others in the community, including the city, and I wouldn't be surprised that you have a lot of friends and allies in that effort. And that's why I'm optimistic that we'll continue along this trajectory and be an ever greater place to spend time.
Well, I think the Downtown Sarasota Condominium Association brought us all together today. So I would think, and they have also a mailing list of everybody who was here. And I think instead of saying we're going to come together, we're going to meet or talk, I think if you pose some of the essential good questions and ask us all to respond in some way without having to come together in one space, and maybe there'll be another opportunity to come together, but first do some brainstorming with that kind of collaboration in mind. I think we'd have a good opportunity to keep us all connected in some way. And we could involve millennials and others who cannot come during the daytime. I always wondered why we always have conference only in the daytime. What about the evenings and weekends? So I kind of agree with you on that.
At the risk of sounding like a broken record with my architectural metaphors, the strongest and most stable building has the best foundation. And this community has great foundations. There's so many different ways to get involved, as we've heard today. Many of the groups represented here have initiatives and ways to connect. And as Hedda, with her exercise and what she showed us was, find your passion and follow it. And if you aren't, why wait? Get in there and get involved now. I mean, that's I think to me was a great takeaway for today.
Thank you.
Ms. Mary?
I would say by getting involved with local government, be it watching the city commission meetings on TV, actually going down there and hearing what's going on, joining groups like the Chamber where you can get involved on a broader level, but also participating in forums like this where polite civil discourse is welcome, it's encouraged. Brainstorming, sharing of ideas in an environment like this does nothing but help build a stronger community.
Yeah, I would say it's twofold. One is get involved. Both in the city and county level, there are a number of advisory boards you can sit on. There are a number of nonprofits Mary mentioned that you can get engaged with. We get the community we deserve, and it's easy to get involved with these things. You go back to our homes, and then the nebulous they take over. Well, they're doing this. Who did that? They're there. They're this. It really should be us. I think the second piece is when you get involved, understand the problems. Too often we get hung up on things that are not the problem. The bridge over 41 is a great example of that. The problem is that the pedestrian can't get from one side of the road to the other. It's that they don't feel safe getting from one side of the road to the other. If you put the bridge over, you don't fix the problem. The problem is safety of crossing the road. The problem isn't getting the person from one side of the road to the other. So look at what the root of the problem is. The problem isn't that we are building homes. That is not the problem. So look at what the real problem is and try to solve the problem rather than what might be a sound bite or a headline.
All right, folks, we have now essentially concluded our Optimal Living Forum. I'd like to thank specifically some people that have invited me in now for the fourth time. Patrick Gannon, the president of the Downtown Sarasota. Bridget Spees, who stays behind the scenes. There's Bridget. I love you, Bridget. Then Mike Normile. Mike, you're out there somewhere. You're with us all day. And then a big thanks to Don Fitz. He's got me involved in this. Don wears two hats. One is Cornerstone and one is Alderman Oaks, but he's back there. He's a big part of making this all happen. Folks, we really need your feedback so we can plan the next event to meet your needs, to keep this conversation going. Sarasota has awesome raw materials, right? We've got our beautiful natural setting. We've got tremendous talent, tremendous creativity, tremendous intellect, tremendous passion. And I think what we heard today was that if we can take all our raw materials, all the good things that we have to work with, and then we can think about them creatively and collaborate and work together across the generations, across the things that seem to divide us, that we can create optimal living in Sarasota. And as long as Hedda can wear that crown of the smiley face ping pong balls and remind us that at the end of the day, it's about our personal passion and how we apply that to the community, to the ones we love, to our own personal life. That to me is what optimal living is all about. So thank you everyone for coming today. We very much appreciate it. Check out the sponsors. Without the sponsors, it doesn't happen. And a big thanks to the Hyatt Regency. This is a great place to do such an event. Thank you so much.